Mulien guys, welcome back to my channel. Namhlanje we're going to talk about episode 4 of the LEBO MATHOSA story. This episode is centered around the events that happened in Lebo's life during and leading up to her Lioness album release. The story opens up with this scene where we see D, I believe her name is, the original artist that was signed to the record label managed by Usimpiwe, walking into a party with an extremely sour face. Within moments, it becomes clear that that party is Lebo's housewarming party, and she welcomes D with open arms. When I say to you that D was sour, I mean she was so sour that she even asked Lebo who did she sleep with. But the fact that Lebo invited D to a housewarming wasn't the shocking part for me. The thing that shocked me is that Utemba was also at the party. Talk about having a big heart and a forgiving spirit. Lebo is better than me, because it's one thing to forgive someone for a mistake, but what Temba did to her was consistent, it was repeated, and it was continuous. He was selling her out on a consistent basis, and now all of a sudden ufunga intobana he's changed. The only way you can tell if someone has changed is through their actions, not the words that come out of their mouth. Just because someone tells you that they've changed, or they tell you that they love you, or whatever the case is, just because they say those things, if their actions don't match their words, then don't believe a thing that they're saying. So after Temba apologizes for his snake-like movement, Usibongile uyangena and she pulls Temba off of Ulebu and kicks him out of the room. And after she does that, Ulebu, but Ulebu slapped her back, and it's either Usibongile met her match or Ulebu's not the one to exert your masculinity over. But that scene with the same-sex domestic violence was something to behold. It actually made me question, what are the statistics of same-sex domestic violence cases up in Mzansi? And when I got into Google to Google that, the amount of articles and academic papers on the topic was a bit alarming. Apparently, the rates of spousal abuse in same-sex couples could be higher than those in heterosexual relationships, according to an article that I read. I'm not going to go into further details, but I've linked a few articles in the description box. Well worth the read. Okay, now let's move on to my favorite part from this episode. It's the scene where Ulebo is running down the street the way I try to run whenever I have an existential crisis, and the scene where Unobomi gets up from her bed and she's running, searching, crying after her child. Those two scenes actually were pure genius. This is why we watch movies. This is why we appreciate film as an art form. Show us the story, don't tell us. Exposition isn't always needed, and these two scenes, the way the editor put them together, was a wonderful way of showing us that Unobomi is indeed Lebo's mother. The way Lebo was crying, the way that she was in distress, and the fact that her mother could hear her, but she heard Usana crying, and she wanted to comfort her baby. That was beautiful. It was beautifully shot. It was beautifully edited. Those two scenes were just brilliant. With that said, let's get into the logistics of Lebo's birth parent. Her mother has been confirmed, and her father, according to the previews for episode 5, is Pastor Achimoroka. Speculate with me for a bit. The fact that Lebo's birth mother is still capable of conceiving life it's possible that Pastor took advantage of her when she was a child or a teenager, and then he coerced her into giving up her child. Mhlambi, he told her that he would raise uLebu, or that there was a good, God-fearing, church-going couple who have been trying to have a child, and that baby Lebu would be in better care with them. Now, whatever Pastor Achimoroka said, she trusted him and she left her child with him. The same child that she has been unable to forget about, the same child that she's still been searching for, the same child that Pastor Achi with the liver of that man. To know that Lebu is your child and the only role you want to play in her life is that of a guidance counselor, is that of a spiritual father. TRASH. That's all I have to say about that. I feel for Jacob, yes. He seems to be an attentive husband, and it's clear that the loss of their child, the child that he was expecting, Nobomi, broke his heart as well. But his wife, Nobomi, shut herself up from him. She was distant, and she forced him to mourn the loss of their child by himself, as she kept on going on emotional and possibly mental tangents, thinking about the child she gave away. I think as a means to cope with the child that she lost. Actually, yeah, maybe it was a means of coping with the child that she lost with her husband. Or maybe she might be thinking she's being punished for it, for giving Lebu away. I don't know. Oh, okay. So there was this scene where Lebu is shooting a music video that was directed by Naledi. And that scene lasts entirely too long. It felt like 4 or 5 minutes of KB just dancing. And the only reason why I noticed the length of this particular scene is because it did absolutely nothing to move the story forward. It felt like a placemat, a filler. It was used to stretch the runtime of the episode so that the episode could meet the requirements. It almost feels as if they didn't shoot enough scenes to last up to the 6th and final episode in this series. That's why they stretched that dancing scene, that music video scene out so long. If I had to give you a central theme for the episode, if I had to tell you what I think this episode was about, I wouldn't have an answer because andazi, and I can't be bothered thinking about it because I've been drinking in Savannah and it's starting to hit the spot. So thank you for watching my video. Please don't forget to subscribe if you want to hear me ramble more about whatever I decide to watch whenever I decide to watch it. Bye.